I got to witness this glorious coup while I was still living with my retired mother. It was convenient for the both of us at the time. We lived in a 6th-floor building on the 5th floor, and the building was part of a set of 3 identical buildings that all belonged to the same company. In the apartment beneath us, there lived a certain Mr. You may fill in what that may stand for. I personally prefer Monshield, or Menace, or Miserable Old Man. Mr. was cranky, self-important, and downright rude and miserable neighbor. He always found something to complain about, be it walking too loud or being too friendly or not being friendly enough. He especially liked to complain about our dog Rip Meek. You were the bestest boy, who sometimes barked at loud noises in the hallway. Never at night or particularly loudly, nowhere near enough to be an actual disturbance. Plus, pets were allowed, and none of the other neighbors ever mentioned it, even when Mom directly asked them. Incidentally, Mr. was also a theater critic, and I happened to be a part of a local theater group. He left some scathing reviews of our plays, his being the only negative ones we ever got. Now, Mr. was also the president of the Residents Association henceforth for the 3 buildings. It wasn't anything too official. They had no power over huge things when it came to the management of the complex. But the owners listened to their requests, and they had power over things like the common areas, laundry room management, gardens, and the common grill spot which had a hut that locked with a key. They made all the decisions about the usage of these areas, as well as had a fund for purchases regarding the management granted by the owners. Essentially, they were a bit like an HOA, but less official, and non-mandatory. Mr. ran the raw like his own personal pack of goons, making up rules and neglecting resident requests. The raw consisted of Mr. the president, his mostly blind wife the secretary, and a few other neighbors who didn't really care about the whole thing, just enjoying the benefits, such as Mr. using the funds to buy them theater tickets. There was also one neighbor we shall call Helen. Helen was the person who filed all the documentation, since the secretary couldn't be bothered or just couldn't due to being mostly blind. Since Mom used to be an actual secretary and a sales manager and used to own her own company, Helen asked her to help with some of the paperwork. They would both complain about Mr. while I was babysitting Helen's kid in the other room, and Mom would shake her head at the stupidity of this man. Mom was a no-nonsense type of woman when it came to official business, and had the capability of at least 10 men in her. She also knew well how to deal with incompetent men. See my entitled parents post for more on that. Now, I don't exactly know how the topic came up, but Helen revealed that the annual complex-wide RA meeting was coming up. The meeting was held in order to hear neighborhood requests and gathering potential new members for the team. This included choosing the roles for the next year. Usually this played out with Mr. M's wife nominating him for the president, everyone agreeing since there were no other options, and Mr. M then making his wife the secretary. According to Helen, this had been the pattern for years now. You can probably guess where this is going. I wasn't there personally, since I was never really interested in the whole RA thing, but Mom told me afterwards what happened. Fed up with Mr. M's BS, Mom conspired with Helen and another member, and I think they even got Mr. M's wife in on the plot. She was nice, and tired of the secretary work anyway. So, the meeting comes. There are several people there to make requests and whatnot, so Mom joining in wasn't anything special or unexpected. The meeting starts with the role distribution, so there was little suspense. The reaction was epic, though. As soon as Mr. M had opened the meeting and asked for any nominations, Helen piped up and nominated Mom for president. Mr. M's jaw dropped, and then he looked at his wife, even asking for other nominations in a loud voice. Nothing. He really tried to look around for anyone else to nominate him, but I guess nobody actually cared enough, or others were just as fed up with him. Defeated, he had no choice but to call all in favor, and with resonant eyes, Mom became the RA president. Helen then took the secretary position. In the aftermath, Mom completely reformed the RA with proper documentation, fair rules, and demanded for the wrongly used funds to be returned. No more theater trips out of the owner's pocket. Mr. M tried to stay in the RA to still have some power, but according to Mom, he stormed out of the first official meeting like an angry toddler when things didn't go his way, and wasn't seen in the meeting since. The owners loved her, The neighbors loved her, and even after moving away she was often consulted for stuff regarding the Ross since she was so dependable. She passed away 2 months ago, and I miss her so much. But at least she outlived Mr. M, who kicked the bucket early summer. Silver linings, I suppose.